Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, Jan Jones Blackhurst, who is on the CESA's board and chief executive of the International Gaming Institute, here for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Welcome back to the Reno Rodeo. I'm Craig Downing, this year's Reno Rodeo president. The rodeo is back and in full swing. Join us for some great family entertainment. Pull on your boots, grab your hats for the wildest, richest rodeo in the West, June 17th through the 26th. We're back in the saddle again.
Serving Our Kids Foundation's mission is to serve homeless, at-risk, and food insecure children in grades K through 8 throughout Southern Nevada. During the pandemic, Serving Our Kids has seen a 42% increase in the number of children served, providing more than 4,500 meals to kids in over 100 schools weekly. Serving Our Kids is powered by community support and volunteers. To learn how you can help, visit servingourkids.org.
Southwest Specialties has been making the homes and businesses of Nevada beautiful for more than 20 years. Their experienced designers and craftsmen create the walkways, backyards, water features, and a variety of outdoor cooking areas that add curb appeal and value to your investment. Call today or visit them at their website and see how they can make your outdoor spaces special. Southwest Specialties, creative, distinctive, beautiful.
I'm Jeff Gehrman, an investigative reporter with the Las Vegas Review-Journal. I'm your guide for Season 2 of Mobbed Up, The Fight for Las Vegas.
You're in with every gangster and hoodlum in the United States.
I don't go for that, Mr. Kennedy. I don't go for that kind of action.
I was on television accused of fronting for the mob.
Subscribe to Mobbed Up, The Fight for Las Vegas, Season 2, today on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we are always delighted to welcome back Jan Jones Blackhurst to Nevada Newsmakers and to be in person.
It's so delightful to see you and be with you and be out.
Exactly. The world is thankfully slowly returning to normal, and as we are taping this, World of Concrete convention is in Las Vegas, the first big convention, so all of that is good. Let me tell people your titles here. You're a member of the CESA's board. You're also the executive director of the Blackfire Innovation Center at UNLV. So let's start out with that. Tell us what that is.
Blackfire is a public-private partnership between the university and in two of the floors with Caesars. It is the lead development in the Harry Reid Engineering Park. And the intention is to develop those 93 acres as a tech park in Las Vegas. And when you see the building, it's directly adjacent for a crow fly from the Strip. So it's a perfect location, and we started by building out the first building with a lot of different tech companies and doing innovative projects and headquartering their offices there. And it's pretty exciting. It gives us an opportunity when we're talking about economic diversification to really link it to the university, research in the university. Not a lot of people know UNLV is a Carnegie 1 designation research facility, which is coveted.
Correct. And we've seen in Northern Nevada, obviously, the tech companies very involved with UNR and supporting both financially, but also in helping to design programs that will help deliver students to them as employees down the road. Is that part of your mission?
It is. In fact, we just announced a project in partnership with Entain, which is a large technology company. In fact, they're the partner with MGM Bets. And they gave us a grant where we're going to take young women in engineering, science, technology. We'll bring them over to Blackfire. They'll mentor with Entain employees. will give them the opportunity to really see how this degree can be put to practical application. So they'll stay in the field, and then hopefully when they graduate, they'll be able to go to work for Entain or companies like them.
You know, people don't really understand that women in technology has gone back a long ways. You can go back to the space program and see women who were unnamed at the time, but now their names are coming out, who were very much involved in us going to the moon and elsewhere.
And what you forget, Sam, is women up until grade 8 are generally much better in math and science than their male counterparts. I think they're not directed to stay in the fields. And unfortunately, even 100 women who go into university with some kind of a STEM major, only 3 or 12 will graduate and only 3 will go on. So they don't see the place for themselves. And we need to make sure they see the place for themselves and are aware of all of these women that played crucial roles, but just weren't written about or weren't seen.
My mother was born in 1914, and she was a math genius. And she wanted to become an accountant, a CPA. And she went to CPA school, and the boys laughed her out of the class. She became a bookkeeper, and then spent the rest of her spare time mentoring all the school kids in the neighborhood on math, because back then you weren't allowed in. Now you're saying perhaps 3 out of a group will make it.
Will go forward, because when they look at the companies, they don't see themselves. And the companies aren't recruiting in the right places with the right messages. So we hope by really showcasing technology job, women in technology, job applications, innovations, that these young women will see themselves, and that these companies will see, if you don't have women and people of color in your design and your vision, how can you possibly be a meritocracy? All of the data clearly shows the highest performing companies have diverse management teams, diverse boards. So if you don't have that, then you're not doing your job.
Well, you know, what's interesting to me also, because as you probably know, part of my business is an advertising agency. And I've always been shocked that as large a Hispanic community, and forgive me for saying Hispanic because it encompasses everybody from Cuba, Nicaragua, you name it, it's not just Mexico, Central America, South America, that we don't have the coordination between the Anglo community and the Hispanic community in terms of business, that very few Anglo companies promote heavily to Hispanic businesses and vice versa. And there's this huge financial loss that's occurring because of that. Yet you have companies like Walmart and Target that they don't understand about nationality. They only understand one thing, green. So that's why when you go to Walmart, you see things in English and Spanish. Other companies are catching on, but isn't that a huge lost opportunity?
It's incredible. And I'll tell you, I was just on a panel this morning on sports betting. And what they found out is 33% of the sports bettors in the US are women. In Europe, it's even higher. It's almost 50-50. And yet nobody's really looking at, how do I market to this customer? Do I talk to them differently? Should the game be different? Are they odds players or are they group players? And it's just what you're talking about. We're missing all of this cultural marketing opportunity because we're not taking the time to understand what they want, what they hear, and what's going to make them want to be a patron.
So does it come down to a sales issue in the broadest sense? Dale Carnegie wrote in his wonderful books, and anybody who's interested in sales at all should read Dale Carnegie because it's just as relevant today, basically said when you walk into somebody's office, look at the pictures on the wall, look at the items on the desk, and if you see that the person that you're going to talk to is a golf player, talk to them about golf, talk to them about the things that are applicable to them, and then let them talk to you because they'll tell you everything you need to know about making the sale, but you have to listen.
I think it's the listening part that people have a problem with. I mean, because we've been talking about gender equity, diversity, and inclusion for what, the last, well,
a long time.
A long time, decades. And yet, about every decade, the conversation comes up again because nothing's changed. And that's because it's hard to think differently. It's change management. It's changing the way you see the world and the way you function in the world. The people that you put on your executive teams and letting them tell you, maybe you're missing an opportunity here. Maybe you're not talking in the right tone or the right message or the right product. To me, that's just basic common sense. But as long as I've been in corporate America, you really don't see it necessarily translate.
In my business, I try to bring in younger people constantly because as I get older, I'm not up to date and up to speed on all of the new things that are happening, and yet my clients expect me to be able to talk to them about that, and the only way I can do that is to associate with as many intelligent younger people as I can.
I go back to this panel this morning. We were talking about sports betting, and the Z and the boomers want an entirely different thing from a sports betting site than the millennials and the younger people. They do it sort of as a group activity. They do it as fun. So if you don't know that and you're trying to build one product for everybody, you're going to miss out on a huge segment of the market, which is exactly your point.
State Senator Ben Kiekefer brought up esports at the legislature and has gotten it moved under the jurisdiction of the Gaming Control Board. Do you hear much conversation about esports?
Tons. And in fact, at Blackfire Innovation, we have a big esports arena where they can come and compete. The issue we've had with it is people love it. They love to watch it. But betting on it becomes challenging because a lot of the esports wizards aren't 21. So how do you regulate that in a way that it keeps the game safe, it keeps young people from wagering on something they're watching? So, I think it's growing, and I think it'll continue to grow. How it evolves into the gaming hospitality business, I'm not positive yet.
In Southeast Asia, in particular, I would say South Korea, it's a huge activity. Tens of millions of people watching esports online.
Yes.
Do they have gaming over there?
No, they don't.
Do they have illegal gaming over there?
Probably. I don't know the answer to that.
And is that a question that arises in terms of how the games are run in this country? Is that a concern from a Gaming Control Board point of view about the legality of the games?
This country's really been very good at trying to keep gray market operators. That's operators who may have platforms in Europe or Asia or somewhere else who are accessing customers in the United States. Even when sports betting was legalized, and even some of the online, it's done state by state, and the states are geo-walled. So if you're not a resident of New Jersey, you can't bet in New Jersey.
Right.
And so could you have it? And you have huge audiences here for esports as well. But I don't think there's a lot of betting that's going on esports.
All right, so should because the gaming industry is an entertainment industry, much more so than it ever was before. So, is this another situation, as we were talking about with diversification, that gaming industry is not taking as much advantage of this as they should, perhaps?
I don't think they're not taking advantage. They're not sure how to do it and do it in a legal and highly regulated way. So they're moving more slowly to make sure that they don't cross any lines. And a lot of that, as I said, is because the demographic of an e-gamer is much younger than a demographic of a gambler.
And and it's funny because
generally,
right? But it's funny because if you think about it, these video games have been around for 50 years now.
Mm-hmm.
So people who are our age, I was playing Pong in 1974.
Right.
I didn't progress to other games, unfortunately, but at least I was playing that. But it was 1974.
Yeah.
So
it's not a new thing. They've
right.
just upskilled and upscaled incredibly. The quality of the games now and the visuals are unbelievable, but they're the same games.
Right. What surprised me was I kept trying to figure out, with 4K television, I understood, okay, it's 4 times the quality of HD. And there are movies and shows that are made in that level of quality. But they are now making 8K televisions and 12K televisions. And for a time, I'm trying to figure out, well, there's no product. Well, yes, there is. It's these video games.
It's these video games.
It's astonishing,
yes,
the level of quality. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back more with Jan Jones Blackhurst after this time out.
Hello, is this D&D Roofing?
Yes, it is. How may I help you?
You did such a great job on my roof. May I speak to the owner?
I am an owner.
Oh, can I speak to your supervisor?
Sure.
How may I help you?
I love your work. May I speak to the owner?
I am an owner. We're all owners. Well, that's why at D&D we work so hard to keep your home safe and sound.
Oh, no wonder.
D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal. Local, employee-owned, here for you.
Like a traditional handmade basket, retail is woven into the fabric of life in Nevada. From big box to mom and pop, retail supports our communities in countless ways. Jobs for the disabled, team uniforms for kids, help for the elderly, and so much more. Retail employs over 1 in 10 workers. Retail supports Nevada, and we support retail.
RANNV.org.
Pro Group Management offers workers' comp services to a growing number of industries. As businesses grow and change with the times, the need for a solid workers' comp program must be flexible and up to date. The evolving nature of regulations can make staying ahead of complex tasks challenging. But Pro Group Management simplifies the work so your industry can move forward and succeed. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Truck drivers are some of the hardest working people you'll meet, delivering over 70% of America's freight and 92% of Nevada's. When there's a natural disaster, they're delivering critical supplies to help those communities recover and rebuild. Every sector of the economy and our nation's military rely on truck drivers. So let's take a moment to say thank you. On the open road or city streets, our truck drivers are rolling to make our economy and our nation stronger. Trucking moves America forward.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Jan Jones Blackhurst, who is a Caesars board member. And I won't go into all your other titles right now, but because I want to talk about Caesars. So you were with Caesars for a long time.
20 years.
And the company, not your fault, but the company went through all kinds of financial turmoil. The turnaround, let's just start with the stock price, has gone from a ridiculously low, maybe teens, into the $100 category. The gaming analysts are saying could be as high as $125. And again, as I like to say on the program, I know nothing about stocks, so don't take any advice from me. But what was the turnaround that you saw between the previous ownership and the current ownership?
I think there are three things. One, the Caranos and Tom Reeg brought a real sense of we're a family business. We run things a certain way. We're external operators, meaning we let our general managers run their properties, and we let them call their own marketing decisions, a lot of their financial decisions. Secondly, they brought this fresh energy that started to look at the company from a different perspective. What were we doing right? And what were we maybe had lost sight of the best operating methodology? And so they found ways to save literally hundreds of millions of dollars that I think over time we just kept, sort of like Rome kept building on top of Rome. We just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And they brought an enthusiasm. The employees, when I walk into Caesars now, from the GM all the way down, they're happy. They're having a good time. They're back to doing and running a business that they love, and they're seeing the rewards. I mean, in the stock price and the customer experience. And, you know, everybody said, oh, this is silly. You know, little El Dorado can't take over big Caesars. This is more than they can do. When we merged, the stock was $38 a share, and now I think it's $108. And it's because they came with a knowledge and intent and a gaming hospitality ability to run a very big company the same way they were running a smaller company.
And that's an extraordinary accomplishment.
It is. It's just amazing. I can't say enough about the Caranos, about Tom, about all of the talent they brought. They assimilated a lot of Caesar's talent into their workforce, and it's just blended beautifully.
Well, Gary Carano was on our program last year in a rare interview. In fact, I've known Gary for 30 years, and I've never known him to do a 40-minute interview on television before. And he had high praise for you.
Oh,
so
that's nice.
Just to pass that back along to you.
They're not a company that goes out and seeks press.
No.
They're very quiet. They run their business. They do the right thing by the community, and it's a formula that's worked for them for 30 years. And I just can't tell you, Sam, how much I've learned from working with them just the short time that I have.
Well, that's quite a statement. One of the things that Don Carano used to say when he started the El Dorado was that they couldn't afford the big entertainment that was across the street at Harrah's and Harold's Club, and so food had to be their entertainment. And that was where they got the reputation for the food at the El Dorado. And I always thought that was an interesting way to travel. Let me ask you a question, though. When Harrah's bought Caesar's, there was a corporate clash. The Caesar's people, and this is before your time, I believe.
No, I was there, and
were you at that time?
The Caesar's people felt they'd been downgraded.
Exactly.
You know, that they'd been bought by this big slot machine company. And so there was this real sort of melding. And honestly, most of the Caesars, legacy Caesars employees left. That really didn't happen with El Dorado. And I think that's because, what do they say? They look for the best athlete. And so people knew if they were going to do their job and do their job well. And I think they found the simplicity of their culture refreshing. You know, it wasn't backstabbing. It was do your job, do it well, and we'd love to have you in our business. Phil Satry once told me that the GM at Harrah's was always jealous of El Dorado because the customer surveys always went to the El Dorado. And when they dug down, what they found is that people like a family-owned business. And I think that the Caranos do a wonderful job imbuing that sort of personal hospitality into the customer experience.
All right, let's take another break. We'll come back more with Jan Jones Blackhurst after this timeout.
Enjoy exceptional value and a comfortable atmosphere at the all-new Nevada Steak at Tamarack Casino. Great food, fine wines, and delectable desserts.
The Do It Right guys at Nevada Heating have one mission. Your air conditioner breaks down today. We fix it today. Why sweat for days while your air is down? When Nevada Heating can get the job done today, and you can get cool again. For nearly 50 years, locally owned Nevada Heating has been getting the job done right. Call today at 323-5585 or see us online at nevadaheating.com.
Each day, the Children's Advocacy Alliance partners with leaders, legislators, and families across Nevada to improve children's health, education, economic well-being, and safety. We recognize Nevada will be no better than the state of its children. Be a part of this change. Be a supporter of the Children's Advocacy Alliance. For more information, go to caanv.org.
Located in the heart of Carson City, the Bank Saloon, a historic watering hole with a modern feel. With a variety of classic cocktails, featuring Nevada spirits, space for private events, conferences, and an incredible atmosphere. The Bank Saloon offers a great location to work and play. Come visit us. Located at the corner of 5th and Carson. We'll save you a drink.
Enjoy exceptional value and a comfortable atmosphere at the all-new Nevada Steak at Tamarack Casino. Great food, fine wines, and delectable desserts.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Jan Jones Blackhurst. She's a Caesar's board member. I just wanted to ask about the acquisition if it weren't enough to have already acquired Caesars Entertainment, to then go and acquire William Hill, it just seems like there is no limit.
They have a grand vision. They realize we were relatively, not everybody was impacted by COVID, but because we had such a wide distribution and so many riverboats, we were a little more stable than some of the big destination markets. Online is the future. Online, both gaming, sports betting, and what we found is that customer, we met them during COVID. They convert to brick and mortar. It grows the entire hospitality platform. So I think that the Carranos and Tom are just forward-looking. They know they need a platform. They had an agreement with William Hill. They think they can probably operate it better in the U.S., and by their history, I think they're probably right.
Do you think that they are looking to acquire more properties? And if you're allowed to share that with me.
I think they never would look away from an opportunity that blended well with a larger company. But I think right now what they're really looking at is running their U.S. properties at the highest standard and making sure that our internet product for both sports betting and online is one of the best.
Well, it's a very exciting future we're looking at.
I think so.
As always, thank you so much for doing this. I always appreciate it. It's always a pleasure to see you.
You too, Sam. Highlight of my day.
Oh, thank you. And we'll be right back. A bird's eye captures its surroundings at different heights. At Brian Culpa Photography, we can make your imagination soar over buildings, parks, cityscapes, and beyond. Brian's images tell the story and get the job done. If you need a new perspective to tell your story, contact Brian today. Brian Culpa Photography. Experience the bird's eye view at brianculpaphotography.com.
Hi, my name's Marilyn Miner, and I'm sure you'd agree that Nevada's a very special place to live. I was born here, and my husband and I have raised our family here. I feel it's a privilege to live and work in the Truckee Meadows. I especially enjoy helping my clients reach their real estate goals. Sometimes the smallest details provide the greatest satisfaction. I'd be complimented to talk to you about your next move.
Call Marilyn Miner at Dixon Realty, 742-1280, or log on to marilynminer.com.
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions, and all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
Pro Group Management specializes in providing industries with the necessary components to satisfy and exceed workers' comp requirements. Every business has unique needs and specific regulations. Pro Group Management stays ahead of the curve, providing up-to-date services to keep your industry in top form. Discover how we simplify your tasks, improve efficiency, and reduce expense to keep you moving in a positive direction. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Watch Nevada Newsmakers on YouTube. You can do that now these days. We'll see you on the next broadcast.